Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto chapter 77. And today, I want to peel back the layers on this betrayal that we got in the last manga chapter, where Kawaki sealed away Naruto and Hinata after declaring that he was going to kill their son, because Kawaki's goal is to rid the universe of the Otsutsuki clan, which, while it's right, it's arguable whether or not he's going about things in the proper way, but we'll get to that later on. A lot of people have been torn up on this decision to have Kawaki descend into madness and seal away Naruto and Hinata, with some people saying, hey, we knew this was coming from chapter 1 of Boruto, while you have others who say they feel it betrays Kawaki's character. So in this video, I want to go over all the major evidence that we have to show you why what we've seen from Kawaki after losing the Karma Seal isn't as radical of a change as some of you guys might think, and I'll be using information from both the anime and the manga, because given how Boruto has been purposely structured, you need both continuities in order to get the complete picture. Now, before we hop into this topic, I just wanted to say, if you want to hear me discuss other series like Chainsaw Man, Black Clover, and Spy Family, and coming soon, Jujutsu Kaisen and Eden Zero, make sure to sub to my KRYPTONIAN SAIYAN channel, because we're getting ready to ramp things up on that channel in a few weeks. So getting back to the video, why exactly do I feel so strongly the shift in Kawaki's character is justified? Well, to understand, we have to go back to the battle of Ishiki Otsutsuki. Most importantly, Kawaki losing the Karma Seal the very moment that Kashin Koji killed Jigen and Ishiki was reborn into Jigen's body. At first, it was a painful separation for Kawaki from the curse of karma, a literal painful separation. He was no longer the vessel of Ishiki meant to revive him, and for the most part, he'd been freed from the destiny that he'd been shackled with from the moment his father sold him to Jigen. However, there was no moment to exhale for Kawaki, because Kawaki was shown feeling helpless once he realized that Boruto, Naruto, and Sasuke were in a death battle with Ishiki, and they had next to no chance to survive it, barring a miracle. After all, they barely survived the battle with Jigen, and Ishiki was not only stronger than Jigen, but he was also desperate to get his hands on Kawaki, because Ishiki's chakra was too much for Jigen's body to contain. For Kawaki, it was the first sign that we had that he was missing the power of the karma, because he wanted to use it to protect Naruto in that moment. Even though he was weaker than Naruto, at least if he had the karma, in his mind he could have been of use and not being hidden away. After Naruto's Baryon mode pushed Ishiki to the limit, and after Kawaki overcame his PTSD of his early years underneath Jigen and being experimented on by Amato, Kawaki stepped out the shadows to save Naruto from having his heart crushed in by Ishiki, and his use of shadow clones was enough to run out Ishiki's clock, long enough for Kawaki to kill Ishiki by literally stomping him out of existence. In the anime, after this moment, we saw where Kawaki was at a crossroads. He was no longer an Otsutsuki vessel like he'd been for most of his life, and Naruto, seeing that Kawaki needed purpose, took him to the Chunin exams to show him ninja culture up close and personal, and offer him the opportunity to become a shinobi, to give Kawaki, who was empty, a new meaning to his life. However, on one of his first missions, Kawaki learned the lesson that Zabuza and Haku taught to Naruto. The life of a ninja is fleeting, and there are aspects of the ninja world that one must confront if one's to be a part of it. Naruto had to learn that shinobi were tools meant to be discarded upon completing the mission or failing to do so, whereas Kawaki learned exactly what happens when those a ninja must protect end up dying, and it affected him to the point where he asked what it means to be a shinobi. For someone who grew up outside of the shinobi culture, with his only knowledge of ninja coming from his abusive father, Kawaki's response was that of someone who doesn't understand the way of the shinobi. He vowed to never make the same mistake ever again. Whereas Naruto vowed to change the system, Kawaki vowed to keep those near to him alive no matter the cost, refusing to accept the harsh reality that a ninja understands, which is that you can say what you want to, but life for a shinobi is fleeting, and that life can end regardless as to how powerful you become. You won't be able to protect everybody, which I believe that's going to be part of the reason why Kawaki jumps to the conclusion that the shinobi world must be destroyed. But we'll get to that in a moment. This is really important to take note of, because the very next thing that we see is that Kawaki's lack of understanding for the way of the shinobi and the culture, mixed with his own upbringing, it led him to seeing things that a ninja on his team couldn't see clearly at first, which is that even those who are labeled as villains, they have a reason for doing the things that they're doing. This was made clear with the Funato clan arc, where despite seeing all the atrocities that the Funato have carried out, Kawaki was the one who said that while the Funato are scum, and make no mistake, they're scum, they still have reasons for what it is that they do. And in battle, when one is striving towards one's goal, there is no room for honor, only results matter, which is exactly what you would expect from someone like Kawaki, who spent years of his life being raised by Jigen Jigen and Kar. While Kawaki didn't take their side, we see that Kawaki at least understood their reasoning for what it is that they've done, which is our first major sign post Ishiki Otsuki that Kawaki isn't afraid to do the things that others view as wrong if he believes that this is the correct course of action, even if it means killing other people and those around those people, which is why he took Bunten's side when Kawaki teamed up with Bunten and Boruto, which was essentially that killing everyone who's an enemy was the correct path to take, and Boruto immediately pushed back against that, further setting the difference in perspective between the two sons of Naruto. And it became clear that the son that Naruto adopted, while he had been changed by Naruto a few months where he's living with Naruto, doesn't unprogram the years of brainwashing he got from Jigen to a point where how he views and processes things are going to be affected, because Jigen got Kawaki during his formative years, whereas Naruto got his hands on Kawaki when Kawaki was trying to find his identity, especially now that the traumatic event of losing the karma happened, which while it was a curse, it was something that was literally a part of Kawaki, which means that he lost a part of himself when he lost the karma, which is why he was so desperate to reawaken it. This is how we have the moments where Kawaki grows super pissed off with Boruto in the Funato clan arc. Despite losing multiple comrades, Boruto wants to stop the war that's coming before there's even more bloodshed, whereas Kawaki takes a stance that blood must be met with blood. Again, we see the effects of nature versus nurture with Boruto and Kawaki, and how Kawaki's line of thinking, while it was logical, it takes out the emotion to achieve the outcome in the way that he perceives to be the fastest and most realistic, whereas Boruto, a shinobi who's raised by a kind-hearted Hokage, he wants to find the path of least resistance and bring people together. Fitting, since one could argue Boruto seeking the non-violent way is something closer to the art of ninjutsu. Even when Kawaki went to the academy, we see that there are times he doesn't fully embrace the way of the shinobi or even truly understand it, which is ironic because at the academy he's supposed to be learning just that, but when you look at him in the anime, Kawaki's not paying attention during the lessons. And we see more than once how he's willing to throw away things to the side to accomplish his goal. In this case, it was to keep Kai alive by any means necessary, even if it means ignoring those of a higher rank than him, and at times going against the mission parameters that were given to him as a shinobi. It goes back to the trauma that came from nearly losing Naruto and having someone die on his first mission. He's running from that pain by trying to control everything around it. That can result in the pain itself that Kawaki fears. However, in the midst of all of this, we see that moment where Kawaki, even his classmates, they look at him sideways because his obsession with Naruto, it peeked through whenever Kawaki would talk about the 7th Hokage, which is why I've always said Naruto's like a gardener who gets hold of a flower that hasn't been watered regularly and cared for properly, and in his eagerness to save the flower, in this case Naruto being the gardener, he watered it so much that it became too much for the roots to be able to handle, which in this case the water would be Naruto showing Kawaki a fatherly love that he's never known before, and Kawaki forming the madness that we're seeing is the roots that are being overcome by the increased water. It's why in universe Amato and Shikamaru, they took note of the change in Kawaki, that he was becoming obsessed with Naruto in an alarming rate and that it had the potential to turn dangerous. One could argue this chapter showed that his willingness to kill Boruto isn't just because he wants to free Boruto Momoshiki, but rather it's because he views Boruto as a threat to Naruto. Kawaki wants to keep Naruto safe at all costs. Everything else is secondary and is merely tolerated. I won't go as far as some people have, which is to say that he took that I-beam from Delta because he wanted to save Naruto and not really Himawari, but I will say right now, with the way that things are going, there was no conversation with Boruto. Kawaki made it clear it's Naruto first and everyone else comes second. He didn't even take the time to hear out Boruto when Boruto tried to explain, which is exactly what Shikamaru warned us about, that as long as Kawaki believes Naruto is safe, he won't act aggressively towards anyone in Konoha. Kawaki's views on shinobi, they play a part in this. Look at what he said about shinobi to Naruto in the chapter. He said shinobi are always going to be first to die. Naruto as Hokage is a leader of a shinobi village. Kawaki in the future declares the age of shinobi is over. The most powerful of the ninja villages, Konoha, was destroyed when he said this. The signs have been building towards that very moment, and him betraying Naruto by force, by forcing upon Naruto the decision that Kawaki views as being the best, it all was meant to get us towards that moment. In the manga, when Kawaki is thinking of Boruto's karma seal, he comes to the conclusion that they can just plant the karma seal on code, so Boruto has a karma that can resurrect him. But what isn't said in this moment by planting the karma seal on code, Kawaki was willing to kill Boruto to prevent Momoshiki from taking over, because Amato's drugs were only meant to buy time. They were never meant to be a cure for the chroma seal. When Kawaki sees that this isn't a viable option, and that time is ticking closer and closer to Momoshiki eventually having his DNA extracted into Boruto and being reborn, what happens next? We see Kawaki grow impatient with the shinobi way of gaining power, which is to raise the chakra levels through physical training and through meditation, the exact opposite of what he was conditioned with. In the car organization, power was gained by any means, and it was done in the fastest way possible. It's why Amato experimented on all their bodies by placing ninja tech inside of them. The nanotech and the Hashirama cells boost the chakra on a cellular level, making them reach power levels higher than anything they could have gained through natural means. Kawaki was trained daily by Jigen to master the power of karma. There was no sitting around to focus on meditation to raise chakra levels, which is why Kawaki grew impatient. Kawaki didn't trust the shinobi way of doing things, which is why he ultimately fled from the village to dry out code himself. Kawaki knows Naruto's story, how he was ostracized by having the QB inside of him. But even while knowing this and hearing Naruto say to Kawaki that someone who multiple villagers have passed judgment on, despite Naruto co-signing Kawaki as being safe, Naruto says that if Kawaki can't feel safe in Konoha while he's a Hokage, then Naruto as a Hokage has failed. Kawaki missed the point of what Naruto was saying there, and ironically so too did a lot of the people who complained about that one panel taken out of context. However, going a step further, Kawaki, despite knowing Naruto's story, still views Boruto the same way that the villagers did Naruto. They didn't see Naruto Uzumaki, they saw the nine-tailed fox. Kawaki doesn't see Boruto, he sees Momoshiki, and he fears losing Naruto to Momoshiki, the same way that Kawaki lost that shinobi he was charged with protecting on one of his first missions. The shift in his character, it's been subtle, but everything in both the anime and manga has been geared towards us getting to this very moment right now. Naruto being sealed away narratively, it fits when you add all the pieces together. It wasn't something done out of random, it wasn't something done out of malice, it was done by a boy who is obsessed with the only father figure that he's ever known, and he doesn't want to lose said father figure, so his overreaction is to seal him away while he tries to eliminate everything that can take Naruto away from him. Just as his actions in the anime arcs have showed, he's willing to walk the moral gray area in order to ensure the very thing he fears doesn't come to pass, no matter how unpopular a decision it is. That being said, I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts on this. While you think that over, click here to watch my Sasuke Resident chapter review, or click here for this Kryptonian Saiyan video.